everybody, it's Katie, the Celestial Homebody, and welcome to this week's episode of my crochet shenanigans. And boy, let me tell you, this is going to be a fun episode, okay? First, we're going to talk about Premier's new yarn, Parfait Plush. They sent me some skeins to try, and I'm going to give you guys my honest opinions about it. And everything that I made this week is actually from your guys' wish list. Last week, I put out a call here on YouTube and on Instagram asking for you guys to send me those patterns that you guys have had sitting in your Etsy or Ravelry, Ribbler, wherever, the cart or the favorites that you just have not yet purchased and tried. So I told you guys that I would try them for you and give you my honest, unfiltered thoughts about the pattern and if they're worth it. But we have a few things that might actually be some of my all-time favorites to go over this week. I also have some super duper exciting news about the Celestial Homebody brand that you may or may not want to know about. So stick around till the end of the video. Let's get into what we've got going on this week. First, let's start with the elephant in the room, that being my birthday crown. Today is my birthday, and my mother insisted that I wear my birthday crown. I have been wearing this crown on my birthday since I turned 13 years old, and today I am 30. Yes, I am entering the decade of the dirty 30s, so look out, world. Okay, this is obnoxious. We're going to take this off. Okay, so before we start with business as usual, I need to show you guys what I was able to get my grubby little peanut butter finger phalanges on. I got a cart or handbasket from Joann's. Thank you to a beautiful subscriber who reached out to me and was like, I have an extra one. So thank you so much, Jamie, for giving up this holy grail. You probably could have sold this on eBay for like $5,000 or a kidney or something like that. But I just want to give a huge shout out to the Naughty Sisters. This is their card. And she wanted me to say hi to Mindy too, her sister. Hi, Mindy. Hi, Jamie. Thank you so much. I have already put this to good use, bringing yarn up and down the stairs. I'm so sorry if it's hitting my mic. By the way, say hello to Reginald, the microphone. Last week, I showed you guys that I put googly eyes on him, and a lot of you guys said that he looked like a Sit Sprite. So I also super glued some stars to him to kind of give that Sit Sprite vibe. Was it a good idea, super gluing beads to my like $400 microphone? Maybe not. But I do it for you. Every time you see him, he's going to have like a new accessory. But anyways, thank you again so much for the cart. I am putting it to good use, I assure you. Okay, so let's talk about Premier's new yarn. Is this crooked? Maybe a little. There we go. Or maybe I'm just crooked. So if you have ever used the Premier Parfait Chunky from Premier, obviously, then you are going to love this yarn. So this is a new line of yarn that they just came out with on Friday. It's called Parfait Plush, and Premier was kind enough to send me a little PR goodie package, which was so exciting for me to get like PR in the mail. And they sent me a cute little tote bag too, but they sent me 5 different skeins and different colors of this new yarn for me to try and to give you guys my opinions of. But you guys know me. I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm not going to sell you something that I don't personally believe in. So I will be giving my honest opinions about it. So this is the first color that they sent me, and it is called Iris. This is actually the only one that I have not gotten around to using yet, which is why the band is still on it. I kept it that way so that I would have one pristine skein to show you guys. Let me grab a skein of regular Parfait Chunkies so that you guys can see the size difference. Okay, so Here we have regular Parfait Chunky, the tried and true. I do believe that it's classified as a 6 weight, but I would definitely consider Parfait Chunky more of a 5 weight yarn. So this is the new Parfait Plush, and let me pull out a little bit so that I can show you the difference. I'm going to make a mess with the skeins here. Okay, so on the right is regular Parfait Chunky. I probably should have grabbed 2 different colors. That wasn't smart. And then this one is the new Parfait Plush. So you can see that there is a size difference between the two. Hopefully it's focusing. There is a size difference. This is definitely a 6 weight yarn. This is equivalent to the size of like a Sweet Snuggles Light or a Chenille Home Slim. So something that's interesting though about this yarn is I have made a couple of things with it in combination with the Sweet Snuggles Light or the Chenille Home Slim from Michaels. And I tend to use a 6.5 millimeter hook with this size yarn, with those yarns from Michaels. And I was noticing that I was getting holes, not huge holes, not like the holes that you get when you do a Woobles. Shout out to that video that I just posted last week. They were just looser holes, like a dollar store whore kind of hole situation. Should I say that, Premiere? Are you going to get mad at me? I don't know. This isn't sponsored or anything. I always say, if you're going to send me PR, you need to know that I'm going to say what Katie's going to say. But anywho, when I was using that yarn in combination with the new Plush yarn, I noticed that this was not getting holes like the Sweet Snuggles Light was. And when really inspecting the density of the strands, even though this one is actually visually a little bit smaller than Sweet Snuggles Light, this one is a lot more densely packed. And so I was not getting holes with it. So obviously, depending on your tension, you're going to want to use a different size hook. But with this stuff, I use a 6.5 millimeter. In fact, that is my go-to hook size. I use that for most yarns. But I will show you the colors that they sent me. These skeins are kind of a mess because I did use them. So this one is Iris, which is very, very similar to that Parfait Chunky color that I just showed you. I don't know if it goes by Iris as well. This color is a dark green, and on camera it's almost coming off a little bit more emerald, but it is definitely like a deep velvet green. This was actually one of my wedding colors, green and navy blue. So if I had known about this when I was getting married, I would have maybe made little flowers or something out of this for the wedding. But this color is called Evergreen. Really pretty. There's this orange color, which is called Carrot. And when I opened the box, my husband, Ryan, who is also a crocheter and his favorite color is orange, saw this and was like, that is the most beautiful color orange I've ever seen. And this is a man who thinks that traffic cones are some sort of blooming, beautiful flower because he loves the color. So if you are an orange person, this is really pretty. Although this is not traffic cone orange. Don't get me wrong. This is like... how do I explain this? I guess it's the color of a carrot. It's a little bit on the more burnt orange side than it is on the neon orange side, which I definitely prefer. I like the more natural colored yarns. So there's that one. They also sent me this hot pink color, and it's called Hot Pink. And finally, this one is my favorite of the bunch. This color is called Teal, and it is so beautiful. This one was one that I was like, I have to use that immediately. So last week, in this week's Makes video, I showed you guys a mermaid that I had created, and I purposefully did not mention what yarns I used on her, because I was not allowed to talk about this until now, but I used this teal color for her tail, and a lot of you guys said how much you loved the colors on her, and I have a lot of yarn, as you can see, especially a lot of blues and greens and teals in that family, and I have no color that is even close to this. So it is a very unique, very saturated, vibrant color. So I wanted to use it again for something, and this actually brings us, we're gonna do a sidebar really quickly for me to show you the very first thing that I crocheted this week. Actually, this was the last thing that I crocheted this week. This is fresh off the hook. I just finished this earlier today. But because you guys loved that teal Parfait plush so much on the mermaid last week, I wanted to use it again for a mermaid themed item for this week. So this brings us to the first pattern that you guys told me you had your eye on. This one is by Zero Gravity Crochet, who is really well known in the crochet community, sells a ton of patterns on Etsy, and I think that this might be one of her most popular patterns, and that is a mermaid dragon. A little weird, a little funky, but I love it. So I use that teal color on the tail, and do you see how nice and defined those stitches are and how bright the color is? Like, I could not get that from using Sweet Snuggles Light because it's not dense enough. So that is what I love about the Parfait plush. So we're going to come back to this in just a second so I can finish telling you guys about my thoughts about this new yarn. So first of all, I'll show you this little handy dandy chart. I circled the ones that they sent to me, but these are all the colors that they have. So something that I love about this line is that they have this color right here, Poppy. This is one of my favorite Parfait chunky colors because it's a very, very vibrant, fun red. And you do not see a lot of like true reds in a 6-weight yarn. A lot of people actually ask me what yarn I recommend for the chunkier weight plush yarns in red, because brands like Loops and Threads only have really deep reds. I don't know what it is about like the rubies, but people tend to carry that in their 6-weight yarns, but none of these like really nice vibrant reds. So the fact that we now have that option in this line is chef kiss. Now let's talk about the actual yarn quality. I mentioned that it does not get holes, and that is true for all of these colors that I tried. However, I'm noticing that it's having the same, I don't want to call it issues, but we'll say inconsistencies that the Parfait Chunky has. So if you've used Parfait Chunky and have placed multiple orders over the years, then you probably know that sometimes the skeins are so soft and luxurious and silky and such a treat for the hands. And then sometimes they're starchy and stiff and gross. So that is what I noticed with all 5 of the skeins that they sent me. They all felt slightly different in varying ranges of softness. I would say that the softest one that they sent me was actually the purple iris color that I did not open. Second softest would be the carrot color, the hot pink, this teal color, and then the evergreen was a little starchy. It was not awful to work with. We're not talking anything like the Chenille Home Slim pour quality. It's not like that at all. It does not squeak on the hook. It's just a little bit stiffer than the others. So as I said, I'm not considering that an issue. It's just a little bit inconsistent, but that makes sense if this is like the same line as the Parfait Chunky is, just a little bit thicker. So all in all, I am probably going to be honest with you and say sayonara to Parfait Chunky to make room in my stash for all of these colors. I'm going to need to be placing a huge Premier order for some of these colors. Oh, speaking of which, there is an affiliate link in the description box. If you purchase through Premier through that link, it doesn't cost you any extra money, but I think I get like a little bit of a discount, or I don't even know how it works, to be honest with you. I lost my login to the affiliate program, so I have to get that worked out, but it costs you no additional money, and then I can use the discounts to buy more yarn to give you guys my honest opinions about it. So that is the new Parfait plush. Leave me a comment if you are going to be picking some of this up in the near future, and if so, what colors are calling to you. Like I said, definitely the poppy to me, and then also they have been out of the teddy bear color for forever in the chunky. I keep this is not good for my brain having the names so similar. In the Parfait Chunky, but it looks like their rust color might be similar to that teddy bear, and because it's in a nice bulky yarn, we love that around here. We love a thick skein. So thank you so much, Premier, if you're watching this, for sending me that little PR box with these skeins. I will put them to good use, and I'm sorry if I embarrassed you with my diarrhea of the mouth. So let's go back to talking about this guy. So, like I said, this is a zero gravity crochet pattern. And the pattern itself was easy to follow. And honestly, for as many parts as this looks like, when I was looking at this, I was like, that's going to take me forever. This is going to involve a lot of sewing. For it looking this complicated, it actually wasn't that bad. The little tail fins are actually crocheted into the main body piece. So really you have to make the wings, the arms, and sew those on. But then the ears are crocheted in. And to be honest with you, I don't prefer surface crocheting. I would have rather just made the ears separately and then sewed them on. That is just me personally. But it did not take that long, honestly, and it is a good size. I think I would have liked it to be a little bit bigger for the amount of time that I spent on it. I'd say probably hour and a half, maybe 2 hours total with like referencing the pattern and pictures and all of that stuff. I did come across a problem. I don't know if it was just me in the arm section of the pattern where my count was off for whatever reason. And I know that there's a joke that I don't count stitches, but I was counting the stitches and it was not lining up to what the pattern said. So I don't know if that was a me problem or if it was a mistake in the pattern. You'll have to get the pattern, I guess, if you want to, and let me know. But I wanted to point out for the eyes on this guy, I tried a different technique with hand painting eyes. So I do paint a lot of my safety eyes because sometimes I like a more fun color or glitter or something that does not come with the discs that come with the safety eyes. But I did something a little bit different, and I don't know if you can even see it on camera with the light here. Okay, there you go. You can kind of see it. So I did paint the back of the eye with some black glitter and then a color shifting teal on the back. And then I have this, what it's called Dragon Glaze, and it is in the paint section at Walmart. Let me turn the light back on. Woo! Was there a ghost in the room for a second there? Nope, it was just me. It's called Dragon Glaze, and it's in the paint section, and I thought that it was going to be more like the color shift paint where it was like a solid color but, you know, shifted. And I opened it and it was actually just almost like a Mod Podge with glitter in it that was supposed to shift from like green to blue. So I was like, obviously that's not going to show up on the back of these eyes that I already painted. So I took a leap of faith and I decided to paint the outside of the eyes with this glaze. And I feel like my execution could have been a little bit better. It's a little bit uneven, like the strokiness, because it was my first time using this. I was not sure how streaky it would be. And also like how densely packed the glitter would be. So if I do this method again, where I actually paint over the eye with this glaze, I will do a much, much thinner coat and also take time to even it out, because it does make it so that it's kind of hard to see what is happening behind that glaze. And I don't know if it's coming off appropriately on camera. Honestly, it looks good on camera. It looks better on camera than it does in person. But it is what it is. They were already painted and the eyes were good for this little guy. So that is my little dragon mermaid. Oh, I did decide to forego the horns. One, because I was crunched for time because I needed to sit down and record this video and also partake in birthday festivities. But also I just felt like with the tail and the wings, there was enough happening. He didn't need the horns. So maybe he's like a baby dragon before he gets his horns. How does dragon biology work? I don't know. But for whatever reason, he doesn't have horns. So all of the patterns that you guys sent me this week, with the exception of one, were like multiple hour projects. And that makes sense if it's been sitting in your cart or on your wish list for a while, you haven't gotten around to making it for, you know, the time aspect. Yeah, I totally understand that because all of these took a while, except for this one. And this is a little clownfish pattern. I don't remember who it's by, but I'm going to link all of these patterns in the description box as I always do. So this is just a little clownfish. And honestly, this one was great until it got to the fins. And I still hate how the tail fin looks. And then you were supposed to do like a black border on the little side fins and the top fin as well, but I didn't want to deal with color changes. And this is another instance where it told you to crochet to the body, and I would have rather worked backwards and then just sewed them on, because it is very, very difficult to do a color change and hide your yarn with plush yarn that sheds when you have a flat little bit like this. So I would have much rather just closed up the back of the fish, made the fins starting at the black and then tapered down and then sewed it to the body. Maybe that's just me in a personal opinion. It probably is. I might be in the minority here with it, but other than doing those little things, I mean, the pattern itself is easy. I mean, it's just pretty much a ball with just a tiny bit of a point at the front. The pattern was really easy to read. It was just all black and white. There were a couple of pictures, which is helpful, but there weren't too many like flourishes or anything on the pattern that were distracting. It was really simple, easy to make. Every time I have seen somebody here on YouTube, another creator, say that they made a clownfish and took it to a market, it sold. So hopefully that is the case with this little Nemo guy too. Oh wait, no, it's not Nemo because he has the two of the same fin sizes. This is Merlin. That's his dad's name, right? Hopefully Merlin here will sell at market. I don't know what kind of price I'm going to put on him because it didn't take very long. Maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Probably closer to the hour side with all of the fins that I had to try to figure out and use a needle and weave in the ends. For this one though, I did use Elise Voluto yarn. So all three of these colors is Elise Voluto, which is one of my favorite yarns. And you know what? Let me grab this new Parfait color. So this is a more neon orange, and then this is that carrot color in the new plush. So you can see that this one is a little bit more of a burnt orange, and this one actually would have been good to use for the fish too. I don't know why I didn't use this for the fish. Oh, you know what I used this on? Last week, I showed you guys some little pumpkin buddies. That is what I used this on. And a lot of you guys said that I needed to make a few more of those. So in the near future, you're going to see some more little pumpkin buddies made with this beautiful carrot color Parfait plush. So aside from crocheting this week, obviously, I have spent hours, days, in fact, working on getting my own website set up. Last week, I was talking to you guys about the issues with Etsy and using fees to take such a huge cut of these small businesses that sell on Etsy. So I was talking about getting my own website up and running. This is actually something that I have had in the works for a very long time, but I am pleased to announce that the celestialhomebody.com is officially up and running. It's spelt just like it is here on YouTube. I was able to get the domain name for it, and I spent so long this week, you guys, building my website and the pages and doing product listing photos and setting up print on demand stuff so that I could provide you guys with apparel options of my designs, my digital art designs. And also, I've listed some of my bigger plushies on my website. So if you ever see any plushies that I show here, check over on my website. I might be selling them over there. And if they don't sell on the website before I go to my next market and then they sell at market, I'll just take them down from the site. I just get a lot of questions asking like if I'm selling these plushies that I'm showing. So I thought that I would, give the opportunity for those of you who are interested in purchasing racing plushies. So luckily for me, when I was 12, 13 years old, I was a little nerd, and I spent many hours on neopets.com coding my lookups and my pet pages. So I was reaching into the crevices of my 12-year-old brain to bring out my knowledge of HTML coding, and I know enough of computer coding in order to build this site. So with a little bit of help from YouTube videos and Canva and everything, I was able to get it looking like how I want it to, with all of my brand colors and also that fun, kawaii aesthetic. So go check out the website. I mean, if you're not even intending to buy anything, just go click on it and admire my many hours that I spent on it this week. Oh, also in honor of the website launch and also my birthday today, we are doing a site-wide sale. So all of my stickers, all of my crochet patterns, and all of my plushies are going to be discounted for 1 week only. But just so you know, in the future, if you purchase any of my crochet patterns from the website instead of on Etsy, you're getting a discount on the website because I don't have to pay as high of fees as I do on Etsy. I did learn though that I do still have fees through Shopify, which is the hosting site for my website, but they are not as crazy high as Etsy. And I also have to pay for the domain name. So I would have liked to provide like stickers, for example, cheaper for you guys on the new site, but alas, I have to pay all of the fees. But thank you everybody who is supporting that new website. Yay! Okay. So in addition to everything else that I have had going on this week, man, I tell you, sometimes life is a tornado and I'm just the cow spinning around in it for cinematic effect. That is how it feels sometimes. This week was a whirlwind. So in addition to building the site and doing all of this crochet stuff, I also wrote a pattern for this little bat. Her name is Matilda the Bat. The new pattern is up on my website. And this little bat I created because my next market coming up in September is a fall festival for my hometown. And there I plan on selling, like having just a little section. I'm not going to go crazy with the holiday stuff, but having a small section of pumpkin buddies or pumpkin pals, little bats, candy corn buddies, and ghosts. Forgot it for a second. But I wanted to create a little bat pattern that was super quick because when I do categories like this at market, I like to have one sign for all of them instead of overwhelming people by, looking at a bunch of different prices. I like just putting all of the prices on one sign. And if I can make them all the same price, that is better. Occasionally I'll say like sea turtles and land turtles, $18 and $12 or whatever the price is. So I wanted to make a bat pattern because I was not able to find one that I really loved that was quick enough that I could compare the price of this to a pumpkin buddy or a little ghost. Those only take me like 25 minutes. So in walks Matilda the Bat. She only takes 20 to 25 minutes, about the time as all of those other things. So I created her. I don't know what to say about her. She's just cute. She's just this little bat. I did decide to make her in this Premier Chenille Brights Periwinkle for my pictures for the pattern because I was going to use black because obviously it's a bat. Should be in black, but you can't see the stitches with black yarn. So that's why I went with this dusky color. I thought that it was still appropriate for a bat. Oh, by the way, side note, on my website, I'm now selling apparel, and I actually illustrated the little pumpkin, ghost, bat, and candy corn buddies that I drew for my price sign. And that is actually on a shirt that says, "Hey Boo Thing," that you can purchase if you want to wear it during the autumnal season. I did buy myself one. I might wear it to my fall festival market, but I have been in the process very slowly of digitally drawing all of the illustrations for my price signs and then printing them out all with the same font for like what they are. So spooky buddies, turtles, possums, etc. Because you guys might know that I hand draw all of my price signs, and I do love the way that it looks. I love the personal touch that it gives, but it is a little bit messy to me when they're all in different like fonts and everything. So I'm digitally illustrating all of the things that I've already illustrated like on the actual paper and putting all of the same text fonts on them, and I will send those to the printer, laminate them, and then put my prices on those. So I know this was a digression, but if I am the queen of anything, it is the queen of sidebars and digressions. All of that to say, that little illustration of the Spooky Buddies is available if you want to wear it on your chesticles. So I made a couple of Matildas because this was the finalized pattern design, but it did not start that way. So the first one that I made is actually this little thing. And this little guy turned out a little bit too small, and it was quick. It only took me like 15 minutes, but in comparison, like size comparison to those other products that I mentioned in the same category, this was a little bit too small and it looked a little weird. I did not spend a ton of time on the embroidery, as you can tell. It just looks like a bunch of white lines, but this is going to get like a $2 price on it and thrown in the clearance bin. This was just kind of a prototype tester, but then I decided to do it in the normal Matilda pattern. So this was the first time I actually tried that pattern that I had written, and I did it in this Parfait chunky pom-pom, because instead of just doing a standard black bat, I thought that it was fun to do the pom-pom and give a little like rave vibe to him. Of course, I gave him white eyes, but on the black, the little teeth look a little weird, especially with the white eyes. But if I had used black eyes, the black eyes wouldn't have shown up. But with the teeth and the white eyes, it just kind of looks like, I don't know, like a skull or something. I don't know what's happening. But I did do this, and I was happy with how the actual design was, how wide the wingspan was, the time that it took me. So then I was like, could I go a little bit bigger without going too big? So then I decided to use that new evergreen color in the new Parfait Plush, and I decided to add an extra round to the wingspan, and this one turned out a little bit too big. So I decided to go back to my original plan, and I did one last one in the hot pink in the standard Matilda pattern. So here are 3 different yarns with the size that they come out to. So this is the new Parfait Plush in the hot pink. This is the Parfait Chunky. So there you can see the difference of the two worked up. The plush is much bigger. And then this is the Chenille Bright. So all of these are Premier yarns just coincidentally, but actually the colors go really well together, don't they? Because this periwinkle and the hot pink is in this pom-pom. So they all look so nice together. Look at that little family. So yeah, Matilda the Bat pattern is available now on Etsy and on my website, but it's cheaper on my website, so I recommend getting it there. Okay, back to showing you what I crocheted this week that you guys sent me. So this was a pattern that I've actually never seen before, but a few people sent it to me. I think there's fluff flying around. If you see little things flying around, it is fluff. But anyways, a couple people sent this to me, 2 or 3 people. So it is that time of the year for spooky season. Actually, this is a good transition from the bat. So this is a 2-catted cat. I was going to say a 2-headed cat, but it has more than just 2 heads. It's 2 cats that are sewn together, but wait till you see the back of them. How cute is that? Their tails are supposed to be a heart, but I sewed the crap out of these, and I was not able to get the nice little heart point. It is heart-like. It looks more like a yin-yang, actually. Well, butter my butt and call me a biscuit. That actually looks better on camera. For the sewn bits, I used Big Twist Posh Rip in this lime color, and then this purple color, which I believe is called Smoothie Bowl, which is a weird name, but we don't speak ill of the dead. Because I used these colors because they kind of gave like Beetlejuice vibes, you know, with the purple and the lime green. I just felt like they were very Halloween-y. Teehee. And then for these beautiful little kitties, I hand painted the eyes. So on the white one, I did these blue foiled eyes with some blush, of course. And then on the black kitty, I did these green foil color shift eyes. No blush, because you couldn't see it on the black cat. So this plushie took a long time, and you might have noticed just based on looking at it, because you're essentially making two plushies. Plus, you do make the body working in the round, but with all of the color changing back and forth between the black and the white, it did take a long time. And I prefer to cut and tie instead of carrying my yarn, because when I carry my yarn, it tends to like pinch on either side of the plushie. So cutting and tying took a while, but I do dare say that this might be one of my favorite things that I've made, just because it's so unique. Yeah, like it's fun. It's creepy, but in a cute way, a little unsettling, but also in a cute way. So this one is actually available on my website, along with, I think, pretty much everything else that I made this week. All of these are going to be available. I do know of a beautiful goth girl who probably has her eye on this, because this is creepy and it's cat. So it's right up your alley, Jillian. We should give them a name, or names. Salt and Pepper. And then together they are Paprika. Remember the tea, the gossip, and Blue's Clues when Salt and Pepper had a baby and we were all like, they had a baby? They did the horizontal tango and they got Paprika? Maybe together they are Paprika. As for the pattern itself, it was easy to follow. I do have, if I were to make this again, there are some things that I would do differently. First and foremost, I don't love the way that the ears look. This is totally personal preference though. There's nothing wrong with the pattern. The ears are a little bit too pointy and narrow for my personal liking. I would have preferred them to be a little bit wider and shorter. Or maybe just on one of them, you can do it wider and shorter to make them two like completely different cat breeds. So that's one thing. Also, I did have to shorten the arms. The arms already almost go all the way down to the feet, and I still had 3 more rows to go before I got to the actual end of the pattern for the arms. So I cut those out, and I'm happy that I did, because if I had gone those extra 3 rows, she would have been looking like Slender Man, or, you know, just having her arms hanging on the ground. And I don't think that would have been a super cute look. So I am happy that I cut those rounds out. But other than that, pattern was easy. It just did take a long time. So there they are. Going to market. And if they don't sell on the website, hopefully they'll sell at my fall festival market. That's a very niche plushie. So that definitely needs the right buyer. So the next thing that I made was actually one of the most highly requested that were sent to me. I think like 6 or 7 people sent me this pattern. So you might have had your eye on it as well. And this is the Luna the Moth pattern. And I personally don't really see the hype. I mean, she is cute, don't get me wrong, but kind of the same concept of the Woobles, where it's just a sphere. It's spherical. But if you are into that like squishmallow aesthetic, then this is probably something that really speaks your name. This one actually took me a lot longer than you would think. So like on this one, I thought that it was going to take me a long time, but it didn't take me that long. This one had the opposite effect, because you have to make the wings. The body itself is a lot of stitches. I want to say where there were like 40 stitches in the actual body itself. So it took a while. So I did not have any large oval eyes. I only have little itty bitty ones, and I wanted it to look as much like the actual listing photo as possible. So I just freehand cut some felt, and then as you can tell, they are sparkly. So I took some sparkly paint, like just acrylic paint, painted over it, and then I took a little bit of cream with a detail brush and did these little stars in the eyes because she's a Luna moth. So I thought that it was celestial, I guess you could call her, with the sparkles in her eyes. So for the colors, I really rocked my brain with the colors on this one, my friends, because I really wanted to make her collar fur. I have so many amazing skeins of the Big Twist faux fur from Joann's that we can obviously no longer get. And so I've been hesitant to use it, but it's just sitting down there. You can kind of see it down there. And I want to use it on things. So I pulled out this colorway. I want to say it was called Cotton Candy. And I was trying to pick colors that went well with it. And these are all pastels, blues, pinks, purples. And I was like, I don't really want to go too bright on this Luna moth because she's meant to be like a nighttime creature. So I decided along the lines with the bat on using the chenille brights in the periwinkle color because it's kind of a dusky color. And then with that, I paired this Burnout Mystical. Don't know what this color is called, but it's purple and it's really pretty. And then this dark purple is Elise Voluto. So I thought that the blues and purples combined really nicely with this fur, but it was cute and colorful, but also dusky. Am I making any sense? I hope that I am. You're a smart cookie. You know what I'm saying. Oh, did I even show you the back of her? There's the back of her. I do absolutely love the wing shape down below here. I do have a little bit of an issue with how the wings turned out though, because you crochet it starting at the tip of the wing in the round all the way out and then come back in. But because I don't know if it's just this yarn maybe, or if there's too many stitches or what is happening, but you can see this doming that we have going on, and it doesn't really, the wing doesn't really sit properly. Maybe I could tack it up a little bit right there. But I feel like if a little kid gets this, they want the possibility of the wings flapping. So if I were to tack it, then that would take that away. Either way, the pattern was easy to follow. It is very squishable for sure. Also you have to make 6 little legs. I was highly contemplating just chaining and slip stitching little legs, but I was like, nope. For the people, for you who wanted me to test this pattern, I will make the individual legs. But this pattern was very cut and dry, all in black and white. Great if you need it to be printer friendly, but not very fun or aesthetic to look at. There's nothing wrong with that necessarily, just as somebody who likes aesthetics and appreciates that, and I try to put some little aesthetics into my own personal patterns. I do appreciate it when creators do take the time to theme their pattern to the specific creature, which actually brings me great segue into the next one that I have to show you, which the creator did that perfectly. So this has to be my favorite make of the week, and I think it might be a lot of your guys's too. So this was actually a pattern that multiple people sent to me, but I have also had on my Save for Later on Etsy. This pattern is by M's Cozy Critters, something like that. I'll link it for you in the description box. I believe she's Australian, but this pattern I've had sitting in my Save for Later, and the reason I had not personally gotten around to purchasing it was because it looked like it was going to take a really long time because there were a lot of little parts, and it did not take that long. And if it did take that long, I don't even care because I had a lot of fun making it, and it is so cute. So may I present to you Picasso the pig. the art pig. And as an artist myself, he called to me. How cute is this? So I made the head first, and I put the eyes in, and I sewed the snout on, and he didn't even have a body. He was just a disembodied head. And I was like, already, I love the shape of this pig. It is so stinking cute. Also, the pattern is so fun to look at because she definitely used like Canva, which is the program that I use to design my patterns, and like color coordinated things and put little clip arts in. I love that when patterns are fun to read. I also appreciate it when there's like a printer friendly version as well, in case I ever did want to print it. But as somebody who normally uses digital patterns, it's so much fun. It's like a party in a pattern. So definitely the award for the best written and beautiful pattern this week goes to this pattern. But this is a rare occasion where I feel like I think my Picasso, my thing that I crocheted, actually turned out cuter than the photos on the listing. Don't get me wrong. The listing photo is so cute. Obviously, a lot of you guys thought so as well because you kept sending me this pattern. But for whatever reason, I think it's the colors that I chose that I like better, because in hers, she did a spot on the head, and I forwent the spot, and I think that that was the right choice because the spot kind of takes away from the little paint splotches on his overalls and his easel and his little raspberry beret, the kind you get from a pig at the store. So I did not do the spot, and there's actually 2 spots in the pattern, one with the spot and one without. So I will say though that I did cheat a little bit because in the pattern it's written where you're supposed to color change for the ink splotches, but I decided just to save myself a little bit of time, I would just embroider them, and I really don't mind embroidering. In fact, I find it very relaxing and peaceful. So I went ahead and embroidered the spots. Look at the little tail. It's so cute. So the colors that I use for him is the Premier Chenille Brights in this blush color. The red is Elise Voluto, and as I was saying at the beginning of the video, this is a color that's very similar to the Premier Poppy color, which you're now going to be able to get in the Parfait Plush, which is excellent if you don't want to buy the Elise Voluto from overseas, since that is the only yarn that I have found in the 6 weight that is this bright, vibrant red. And then for the hooves, this is also Elise Voluto yarn in a brown color. Don't ask me the color number, I'll just make one up. So I did paint the eyes on him. I thought that the green just would look really pretty, and this is actually color shifting paint that I picked up at Walmart. By the way, I know a lot of you guys always ask me, can I do a tutorial on painting eyes? And to that I say no, because all I do is take the eye and take a brush and take my paint and then slap some paint on and let it dry. It's nothing fancy. I do not do like the glitter and resin method. If I do glitter, I just use glitter paint so that it dries, and then I'll back it with another color once the first layer is dried. So there are plenty of free tutorials here on YouTube if you're interested in getting into painting safety eyes. Do not trust me. I am not an expert. I just play one on TV. So there is my Picasso. He is also going to be available for purchase on the website, but to be honest with you, if he does not sell, I don't know that I'm going to take him to market. I think he might just stay here with me for a while because I love him so much. Or if he does sell, I'll probably make another one. Maybe do some different colors. I don't know. I decided on the raspberry beret because I felt like it just went with his little paint splotches, but it would be really pretty to do a pastel Picasso. If you know me, you know that I love the pastels. So that might be next up. Oh, also in the pattern, she says to sew the little palette between both of the hooves, but I thought it was cute with just the one. And I was contemplating potentially making him a little paintbrush to go in this hoof, but I don't want to spend any more time on it. It's cute enough as it is. So before I get to the last thing that I made this week, crochet-wise, I wanted to show you a couple of new stickers that I designed. So you guys might know that I have a chicken pattern, and this is what they look like. And this was a highly, highly requested design of a yarn chicken winner sticker. So I drew up my crochet chicken and made it into this little sticker that says Yarn Chicken Champion. And for those of you who are fans of the blue chicken, I also made one in a blue chicken pattern. So you have your choice if you want to do the standard brown chicken or the fun blue one. And then I also made the text slightly different colors on them. But drawing crochet is not easy, so I just went like a super easy route and pretty much just did little humps. You know, I did not go through and actually draw detailed stitches. It's not a tutorial or anything. They're made just to look like the little plump yarn chickens that I sell at market. So you can pick these up on my website. They are not listed on Etsy as of right now. So if you want them, you can go over to thecelestialhomebody.com and be some of the first to pick these up. You can wear them on your shirt if you wanted to, although I wouldn't recommend wasting it on your shirt. But I'm going to be putting, I don't know which one I like better. I think I'll probably go with the blue one. I'm going to be putting this on my Tumblr. Okay, so the last thing that I made this week, and this is not the last pattern in this idea. There was another pattern of a forest guardian that multiple people sent me as well. Besides the Luna moth, this other pattern that I did not get to, unfortunately, was the most requested. That is on my hook currently. Just with everything else that I had going on this week, I did not have time to finish that. So stay tuned for next week. Next Monday, I will show you guys my forest guardian. You guys are going to love it. I just know it. But the last thing that I did finish this week is this little All From Jade butterfly. And this is another one that I have had sitting in my favorited for a long time. And the reason I didn't buy it was because I felt like it would take too long for what I could sell it for at a market. This, I feel like, is more of a pattern that I would buy if I was looking to give a gift to somebody who loved butterflies. But as a market make, this definitely was not one, or is not one, that I would recommend. It took a long time because you have to do each of the little segments separately, and then sewing them all together is confusing. Luckily, she does have a tutorial video linked on the pattern though, if you're more of a visual learner. But I ended up actually taking out one of the sections. It said to do 5 sections, and I got to 4, and I was like, that's going to be so long. She's going to be looking like she has a stinger. So I forewent the 4th cup and then just ended it right there. Another problem that I ran into is that my antennae are going the wrong way. They should be going this way, and I do think that I can fix that if I tack it right here. Now they're probably just going to be going outward. Maybe if I wet it and like pin it there for a while, then it would curl under. But the reason that they're curling backwards is because it did not say in the pattern to turn the work to do the antenna. And what turning the work would do is it would make it so that instead of crocheting counterclockwise like you normally do, you would be crocheting the opposite way. And depending on which way you're working, if you're working from the inside or the outside of the work, it depends on which way the chains will go. I did an awful job explaining that, but it's either here nor there. It is what it is at this point. So I picked these colors of the teal and the, what color is this? Purple, because you guys loved my butterfly dragon back there. Seraphina is her name, so much. So I decided to take a note from her, and I used the same yarn on this one. Actually, not the same yarn. This is Burnout Sparkle. I don't know if you can tell. This is sparkly yarn, and Serafina is not sparkly Bernat. And then I did use, this is Bernat tie-dye for the wings with a little bit of regular Bernat baby blanket for the tips. Now, I wish that I had picked a different color for the tips of the wings, because this is almost too similar to the tie-dye-ish that it kind of blends in a little bit. And so I do wish I had picked a different color. But at this point, it's fine. Also, side note, this skein of the tie-dye-ish was very weird to work with, because it is a variegated yarn where it goes from like dark teal to medium teal to light teal to white. And I was getting sections of this yarn where for yards and yards and yards of it, it would only be alternating between dark and white, dark and white. And then I would get to a section of it where it would be yards and yards and yards of the light mint and white, mint and white, mint and white. So for the wings on this, I actually kind of had to like make my own color changes and cut out a bunch of different sections of the yarn. I ran into that problem with this guy too, where I had to make my own color changes. So I don't know if that is the yarn itself, if that's normal. This is the first time I've worked with the Bernat tie-dye-ish, or if it was just I got like a faulty skein or whatever. But all in all, she did turn out very cute. I painted her eyes with the sparkly, I think it's called Princess, in this sparkly acrylic folk art acrylic paint. Did I say acrylic twice? I think I did. And I, of course, gave her a little bit of blush. I was contemplating if I should give her a little mouth, but I think that I will leave her be. No pun intended. That wasn't really a pun because she's not a bee, she's a butterfly. It's getting late, you guys. I want to go party it up because it's my 30th birthday. Thank you, everybody who came to my birthday live stream. It was so much fun. That replay is up on the channel if you want to hang out with us for a few hours. We get unhinged, we get wild, we play games, and it's all recorded and up in the live stream playlist of the channel. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me on this extra long episode of This Week's Makes. Don't forget to check out my website, and I hope you know I appreciate you. Let me get real close to the camera here. I appreciate you. You can probably see all of my pores right now. Thank you all so much. Say goodbye to Reginald, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.